I feel like I'm a better fighter now, more improved, more conditioned and ready to...
Because Daniel from UK, listen, this is ring. For me, it's people, it's just a show.
I believe it's going to be totally different. If the people thinking that that's going to be the same thing, then they're in for a shock, surprise.
Daniel Dubois and Olexander Usyk are ready to face off again in a much-anticipated rematch that promises a high-stakes battle. However, Daniel Dubois called his first fight with Olexander Usyk a turning point. He said the loss revealed his weaknesses, but also showed him what to improve. The experience, both in camp and the ring, helped him grow. Since then, he feels stronger, sharper, and more complete.
I just look at it like an experience for me, you know, just the training camp beforehand and everything that went down in the fight. It's just an experience for me, learning from it, and you know, you guys seen what I've done since then, so I feel like I've rebuilt myself to be even stronger than I was.
Dubois further said he was built to fight from a young age, trained by his father since he was 7. He called himself a natural warrior and believes he can compete with the best. In his next fight, he plans to make a strong statement.
Yeah, facing the best guys out there. I think, you know, I'm a warrior at heart. I'm a warrior through and through. My dad raised me, trained me from the age of about 7. So, you know, it's in me. I've got the goods, and we've just been proving hungry to prove a point, and you know, make a statement with this one.
David Haye said the rematch will be very different from their first fight. He felt Dubois wasn't ready back then, but was impressed by how he fought Joshua. Haye believes the confident version of Dubois is a real threat.
I think it's a great fight. I think the first fight, I think Daniel wasn't quite where he needed to be, you know physically, emotionally, and obviously, but off the strength, I didn't think he'd have what it took to beat Anthony Joshua, but he really made that happen and did it in emphatic style. And I was shocked. I didn't realise he had that in his arsenal to come out. You know, obviously the loss against Joe Joyce and then Usyk. You know, I thought, okay, you know, against AJ, you know, he's not really got much chance, but he shocked everybody. And that version of Dubois, that relentless, the one where he doesn't care what's coming at him, he's throwing it back.
Haye warned Dubois not to repeat his old strategy of boxing Usyk from a distance. He suggested using smart pressure like Chisora did to force a tougher fight. Haye noted Usyk's long, demanding career and said age and wear might now be showing, giving the younger Dubois a possible edge.
You know, what he doesn't want to do is what he did in the first fight, and that's have a long-range boxing match and try and get too technical. He's got to do what Derek Chisora did when he fought Usyk, apply educated pressure and understand that Usyk is in the twilight of his career. You know, he's had many international amateur fights, you know, Olympics, World Championships, cruiserweight undisputed, heavyweight undisputed, not just undisputed. He's fought AJ twice, Tyson Fury twice, and although those fights weren't no life and death, think about the training camps it took for those fights in the close succession. There's a lot, you know, there's a lot of wear and tear. It's not evident from his last performances, but at some stage, I can tell you it creeps up on you. And is this going to be that night? Is Daniel Dubois' youth and experience and mindset and, you know, momentum going to be enough to beat someone who is technically superior to him, but physically insuperior, you know?
Dubois said he's fully confident ahead of the rematch and plans to win this time. He called it the biggest fight in boxing and said all eyes will be on him. Living his father's dream, Dubois feels unstoppable and focused on victory.
This time around, it's going to be totally different. I'm gonna win for a start, and you know, we're going to just change history. It's going to be, all eyes are going to be on this. This is the biggest fight in the world, and I'm so, you know, confident, and so happy. I can't, you know, I'm living my dad's dream of, you know, me being a world champion right now, and I'm on fire. I can't be denied right now.
Dubois said Usyk will face a completely different version of him in the rematch. He promised a real test this time, saying he's grown stronger in body and mind. Dubois now sees himself as a full fighter and warned that the 38-year-old Usyk will feel the pressure.
Massively different. He's going to be in a real fight. You know, that's all I can say. I'm a real fighter right now. I've gone through whatever mental challenges I've had to face, but I'm a different fighter right now. He's going to be in a real fight, and he's going to know about it. Yeah. He's 38 years old. He's going to know about it, for sure.
David Haye said it's hard to predict a winner, and the outcome will only be clear on fight night. He admitted Usyk is hard to bet against, but pointed out Dubois' youth, momentum, and home crowd support. Still, Haye stressed Usyk's unbeaten record and ability to adapt, making him tough to rule out.
I think there's only we'll find out on the night. We'll find out when it's unsure. It's hard to bet against Usyk, but if anyone has a shot, it's someone young, fresh, with momentum, and believes it, and on their home turf. All of the benefits are with Dubois on this one, and the whole of Britain's going to be behind him. But Usyk, how do you bet against someone who doesn't know what it's like to lose, hasn't tasted defeat, and has always found a way to win? It's near impossible to bet against him.
Dubois said that while Usyk has looked sharp in past fights, everything can change in a single night. He promised to bring smart, aggressive pressure and called his style dangerous. Dubois said he's ready to show Usyk what he's truly capable of.
Yeah, focus, clever, smart, but, a dangerous destruction. That's my style, and I can't wait to put it on him. I just can't wait, really. Yeah.
Moreover, Joseph Parker said Dubois has improved since their first fight and looks more dangerous now. He believes the rematch will show if Dubois can move past the stoppage and body shot drama. Parker thinks the shot was low, but knows others disagree. He sees this fight as the real test of what truly happened.
Okay. Who do you see as the more dangerous opponent, though? Usyk or Dubois?
I believe Usyk. I believe Usyk is a great fighter. Dubois is a changed fighter from his first fight. But then this is why we had the rematch, to see whether Dubois can overcome what he got stopped with a jab.
Yes.
And he did. A lot of people were also questioning the body shot. I think it was a low blow.
Me too.
And it was below the belt, but a lot of people were saying it was a legal shot. So this is going to determine, whether it was a fluke, that shot, or whether Usyk was just a master.
Dave Allen is backing Dubois in the rematch, saying timing is key. Though he respects Usyk and knows him well, Allen feels Usyk is aging and no longer fits at heavyweight. He thinks Usyk could still do well at cruiserweight, but not against top heavyweights. Allen believes Dubois is getting better, and now is his time to win.
And who are you calling for?
You know what? I've been calling for Dubois to win. I think Dubois...
Is that because you think he can win, or is it because you want him to win?
I think, no, I was under Usyk and I got on really well. He gave me his jacket once. He gave me a coat. It was nice. It was nice of me. So, no, I gave it my dad. My dad won't give me it back. I think he's going to sell it soon. I just think it's about timing, really. Olexander Usyk, nearing 40. He's not physically... He's not a heavyweight. I don't think he's a heavyweight at all. I think he's still...
Despite beating legitimate heavyweights like Tyson Fury,
yeah,
who are real
I don't think he's a heavy... I really don't. I think he could do cruiserweight still now. I just think it's the timing. Daniel Dubois is getting better and better all the time. And I just think this is the right time for Daniel Dubois to beat Usyk.
Tony Bellew doubts Dubois can beat Usyk, citing Usyk's unbeaten record and wins over top names like Joshua and Fury. He admits Dubois has power, so anything can happen, but sees an upset as very unlikely.
Maybe that's going to be his tactic.
You've also got to remember, though, he is the... Excuse me.
Okay.
People forget this sometimes, but he is the much younger man than Usyk. Usyk, I think he's 10 years his
Yeah.
So all of that the fatigue and the tired in the fight, that should all sit well with Daniel Dubois. He should not tire, considering the age gap between them. But ultimately, he doesn't have the pedigree of Alexander Usyk.
Or the conditioning.
And he doesn't have the mindset, and he doesn't have the mentality. And they will show themselves in the fight, I believe.
Chris Eubank Jr. said Dubois is on a strong run, especially after beating Joshua. He noted Usyk's confidence too, but believes the fight will come down to who stays mentally strong.
I think Daniel Dubois, he's on a roll. He's coming off of a massive win against AJ. Usyk's also on a massive roll, so I think that fight's going to come down to mindset.
Carl Frampton called it a great matchup, saying Dubois is more dangerous now. Though he didn't like how the first fight ended, he thinks Dubois has a real shot. Still, Frampton warned not to doubt Usyk's ability to adapt and expects Usyk to win.
Really, really good fight. Dubois is a better fighter now than he was in the first fight, and he looked okay for periods in the first fight. Disappointed we've had ended as well, but Crawford, flip me, talking with the wrong fighters again. Dubois is certainly a much more dangerous fighter than he was. So he does have a chance to win the fight, but in saying that, I've backed against Usyk a couple of times, and specifically the Fury fights. I don't think I'm ever going to back against him again. I think the guy's a genius and he just finds a way. I don't even think he goes into fights with a game plan. He figures people out as the fight goes on. And yeah, Daniel has a better chance, but don't back against Usyk. I think Usyk wins the fight.
Simon Jordan said it's Dubois' moment. He praised Dubois as a fierce fighter and admired his confidence at Wembley. Jordan believes Dubois must win by stoppage, as a points win is unlikely.
I said it to Alexander Usyk, and there's no favouritism here. I think it's Daniel Dubois' time. I think he's a ferocious
I have to agree with
beast. Absolutely. and I think he deserves all the plaudits. I think what walked into Wembley Stadium was an absolute gladiator, and I'm thrilled for him that he's coming out of himself, growing as a man, becoming more worldly and able to communicate with the media, and I think it's going to be a fabulous fight.
Do you believe that he can get it done inside of distance?
I think he has to get done inside of distance.
Yeah. You don't think he can win on points?
I think it's unlikely.
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely. But whatever, July 19th, brilliant fight.
Don Charles shared that he's trained Dubois closely for 2 years, including a long camp before their first fight. He spoke about Dubois' growth into a champion and called it part of a bigger plan. Charles also questioned Usyk's faith, saying dishonesty in God's name would be a serious issue.
Well, we've been together now for 24 months. We did, that first fight was 14 months camp, and new fighter, new trainer, relationship. Now, 24 months later, can you imagine? And you've seen what he's done in between that time, from the Usyk fight to now, what he's gone and done, and become a world champion. And the personnel he has beaten on the way, that suggests to how far he's come. And we're going to top it up by, this is all meant to be, this has all been written by God. The God that I worship. I questioned Usyk about his religious beliefs, because if you're a godly person like he prides himself, how can you lie behind in the name of God? That's a sin, a big sin.